Okay guys, morning. I'm saying morning, it's morning here. It might not be morning when you're watching this. For anybody that was hoping to watch this over their breakfast this morning, I do apologise. I do know there are a few people have told me that the Friday Waffle is actually their Saturday morning get up video, so I don't quite know what to make of that. But yeah, apologies about not getting a video last night. I'll get my excuses out early. Yeah, basically my wife wanted to watch a film. I was going to come up and do the Friday Waffle, and she said, oh, why don't we watch a film? And she doesn't usually suggest watching films, so I thought it'd be rude not to. What did we watch? San Andreas with The Rock. So that's 1 hour and 54 minutes of my life I'll never get back again. It was alright. It was one of these total CGI fests. It was one of these films where you can actually, you watch it but you find yourself looking at Facebook and using your phone because, you know, there's really no story to kind of keep you enthralled. So anyway, yeah, I trust you've all had a decent week. I keep saying this, my work, you're probably thinking, why don't you go and get another job? Well, believe you me, I am looking for another job, but they're hard to come by. My job this week, my work this week, especially Friday, has just been absolutely pandemonium. Just physically not enough hours in the day to get through what you're trying to do. And the thing with my job, and I probably should be quite, not proud, I should be glad of it, but you're always getting sent on training courses and meetings, and the problem when you're doing things like that is you're not physically doing any work. You're sitting in an office or a boardroom, whatever, and you're not physically getting on with any work, and then you have to come back and catch up. So anyway, yeah, enough about my boring stuff. I am back running. Hopefully you can see the double chin's starting to go a wee bit. Really enjoying the running again. I was out last night, done a 10k. It was horrible night, but I just got out and done it. So I've really I've got the bit between my teeth again with the running. I want to do the West Highland Way race next year, and I want to make sure I am 100% ready for it. So yeah, that's that. Gaming wise, what have I been doing? I am still copying discs onto the original Xbox, and you probably can't hear it whirring away there. I think I'm now up to about 130 games I've got on the drive. My mate Tony managed to figure out what was causing the problem. Apparently it's to do with cluster size on the hard disk, which means nothing to me. It was set to 16k or something, and he set it to 64k. So previously, when it got to 250 gig, if you tried to put anything else on it, the drive became corrupted, and that's what happened the first twice that we've done it. But Tony has now seemingly, touch wood, successfully fixed it, and like I said, I'm now up to about, I must have about 300 gigs worth of games in it so far. So yeah, been doing that. But yeah, actual gaming wise, what have I been playing? I've been playing the MAME cab. I've been making a point of playing the MAME cab. I was playing Gunsmoke the other day there. It's a brutally hard game. I love Commando. I absolutely love Commando. And Gunsmoke was kind of the unofficial sequel to it. Very similar. Horizontal scrolling game, you walk up the screen. But this time you've got 3 buttons. You've got fire left, right and straight ahead. It's got the typical kind of Capcom sound effects, very kind of Commando-esque. Really good game, but it's bloody hard, brutally hard. It really is. It's one of the toughest arcade games I've played. So I've been playing quite a bit of that. Been playing a bit of Rolling Thunder, but just I've really enjoyed just getting back to playing arcade games on the cab again. You know, it's easy to kind of forget about just how good stuff is and not use it. So yeah, I've been playing that a lot. Not been playing any current gen stuff. I did get a game for the PS4. It's one of the Wolfenstein games. It's not the New Order. It came out later. It's like a zombified version of Wolfenstein. Apparently it's not a very long game, so I got that from my mate for about £9 or something. But I've actually let one of my other pals borrow it. So yeah, that's that, gaming wise, that's what I've been doing. Yeah, so anyway, let's see what stuff I have written down. Right, this is kind of a sort of a video response to Novabug, and also there's two parts to it. The first part, well, Novabug was asking, striking a balance between life and YouTube, and one of the things that I put down before Novabug done his video was losing the urge to make videos. And I was mentioning last week, I think it was, and I still notice that there seems to be just generally a lack of kind of video content being put out. Maybe it's just the people that I've been subscribed to. And I was wondering why that was. There definitely seemed to be a sort of a downturn in the number of videos. And was it PC Baker made a comment, and I thought, yeah, you're probably actually quite right. He said that, in fact, I was asking how he was, because I noticed PC Baker hadn't done any videos, and he tends to do quite a few each week. And what he said to me was, well, he hadn't been feeling that well, but he said that I think the dark nights certainly changes the mood of some people, and that could possibly be it. And yeah, I think it's probably right. I mean, the clocks went back in the UK last Sunday, which basically means at night it's darker a lot quicker, or an hour quicker at night time, and it also means it's dark in the morning, which basically means it's when you're not at work, when you get up in the morning it's dark, and you get home from work it's dark, and it can kind of be quite a depressing time. I mean, I know there are people who suffer from, is it like darkness syndrome or something, I don't know what they call it, but basically they do get clinically depressed with the weather. And not that I suffer from that, I don't think I do anyway. Well, I think like most people I do get depressed when it gets dark, you know, because you want it to be summertime. But so anyway, yeah, there's been a lack of videos, but personally I think again, the work side of things, and I've been trying to, I certainly don't have as much time to make videos as I did, and when I have been going to make a video, I've kind of been struggling for ideas. You know, what can I do? Well, you know, it's unfortunately some of the sort of like the bigger feature things like Arcade Perfect My Arse, that was the year that was, which is kind of finished almost anyway. They do take up a fair bit of time to put together, just to actually video, never mind actual editing. Well, I don't edit videos as a rule, you just get what you get. But these videos do take up a lot of time to actually film, and that's something that I've really not got much of. Especially the fact that I'm getting back out running again, time is certainly more restricted. But saying that, I've been making videos for a few years now, and I've been running as well, so it's not like I can say because I'm running that's stopping the videos. But I think the job, without a shadow of doubt, I mean, my previous job, I could take the piss slightly. I mean, I still get to work from home, I could take an extended lunch hour and make videos, but in this job now, although I'm entitled to like an hour's lunch, it's invariably a 10-15 minute sandwich, cup of tea, back to work, because it's just so busy. So yeah, I certainly don't have as much time to make videos, and when I have had the time, it's like I said, I've been struggling for motivation. There's no point in putting out a video just for the hell of it. You know, people want to see somebody enthusiastic, they want to see the passion, they want to see the interest, they want to see somebody who's genuinely interested in the topic they're talking about. And if you're just going through the motions of trying to make a video, then you're better not making a video. I think sometimes less is definitely better. But yeah, to touch on Chris's question about, what was it again? Striking a balance between life and YouTube. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind admitting, I mean, I'm one of these guys, I've always said it how it is, guys. I've publicly posted a few things about my life, my redundancy and that kind of stuff, and here I'm one of these guys, I'm usually quite open about my life, you know, to a degree obviously, and one of the things I did mention a while back was it was getting to the stage I was coming in for work, I was taking the dogs out for a walk, I was getting my dinner, and I was going right upstairs to make a video, and it was becoming quite it was becoming a bit of an addiction, I suppose. You know, anybody that makes YouTube videos will know it can become quite addictive, and that was what was happening. I was just coming in, and I was, as soon as I was finished what I had to do, you know, sort of domestic chore wise, get the dishes done, I was coming right upstairs, and it all basically came to a head. It didn't come to a head as such, but my wife's very, very tolerant of my hobbies. You know, she's tolerant of my running. I go away sometimes for, you know, a weekend running, and you know, and the same in the video game side of things, making videos, playing video games, buying stuff. She never ever gives me any grief, you know, and she shouldn't, because at the end of the day we're all entitled to our hobby. But yeah, there are times where I think to myself, you're taking the piss, Alan. But yeah, this one day I came up to make, it was to record one of the Blind Mates Only, and I was literally upstairs for 2.5 hours, and I remember coming downstairs, I don't know what time it had been, probably about 10 o'clock or something, and she was going to her bed, and she just made the comment about, we'll never see you anymore, you know, when you're not having your dinner, you're upstairs making videos. And I'm like, what do you mean, what do you mean? She says, well, it's true. She says, as soon as you come in for work, you're right upstairs, you've got a daughter who you're hardly talking to because you're upstairs making videos. And yeah, that just, hang on a wee second guys, I'm just going to swap over this disc. That, I'm afraid to say, struck a chord. It struck a chord with me, and I thought to myself, you know what, she's right. And yeah, it made me think about my priorities, because at the end of the day, guys, as everybody will appreciate, this thing that I'm doing right now, I don't get paid for it or anything. It's a hobby. It is a hobby, and I really do enjoy it. Hang on a second, get this going. There we go. Rogue Trooper. Yeah, so it struck a chord with me, or struck a nerve, whatever, and it was a bit of a wake up call for me. I thought, I need to get my things back in balance. I mean, there was a guy, is it Luke Morse, I think it is? He's a big, he was one of the big original retro gaming YouTubers from America, and he was making videos after videos, buying stuff non-stop, and he sort of famously lost his wife and his child because of his hobby, because of making YouTube videos. And he did post a particularly sad video. It was a meltdown of him basically telling how he'd lost everything, he'd lost his family because of YouTube, and I would never ever allow that to happen to me. You know, it's just a hobby. At the end of the day, you know, anything can happen. But like I said, I do really enjoy it. So yeah, it's getting a life YouTube balance. Life, when we talk about life, we talk about commitment, we talk about family, I talk about jobs, I talk about your kids, your wife, your partners, you know, your boyfriends, your girlfriends, whatever it is you've got, your friends. These are what's important. I don't want to start preaching here, guys, but these are what is important in life. The people around you, your real life friends. I mean, I do look at some of the guys that follow my YouTube channel as friends. They're my pals. I do talk to them. I've spoke to them on, you know, the phone and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm my friends, but ultimately you don't live where I live. I never see in real life. The only interaction we have is through the sort of medium of the internet, YouTube, Facebook and that kind of stuff. And you have to make sure that your family, your friends, your kids and that comes first. You know, I mean, there were times where in the early days, you know, in my last job, you know, I would take the piss. I would maybe take, instead of taking an hour for my lunch, I would do my Friday waffle and it would run on to an hour and a half. And yeah, that's stupid, because at the end of the day, you get caught, you know, you get sacked. And can you imagine losing your job, potentially losing your house because you're taking a piss because you're making videos or you're playing video games, whatever. So that should never ever be allowed to happen. So you've always got to make sure that your real life takes priority. Your YouTube stuff should always come after that. The same way you're playing video games, same way me going out running, these things should always be secondary. They are important in your life, don't get me wrong, you know, it's important. I've got some mates who really, they don't have any real life outside their family. You know, their whole life is taken up with their kids, and they don't have any time to themselves, and I think equally that is wrong as well. It's vital that you have an interest, you know, you have your own time. We all need a bit of me time to do what you want to do, and you know, I have a few friends who just simply don't get that. You know, you try and organise something and they can't because they're just, you know, it's their kids. And I think that it's important that you have to have a hobby of your own. You have to have some time yourself. But you know, in my time, I play video games, I make videos, and I go out running. And you know, my time is quite limited. And so yeah, you've got to pick what you want to do. So that's why you've probably noticed, guys, I don't make as many videos now. I mean, I probably I like to try and get out maybe 3. I mean, I used to at one point put out a video every day. When I was making the Friday Waffle, not the Friday Waffle, when I was doing the mashups, which I still do obviously, you would get one of these every single day. That's way too much. I certainly couldn't commit to doing that. I wouldn't go back to that, and I don't think it's healthy for your channel either, because if people are going into YouTube and they see all these loads and loads of videos by the same person, you're less likely to actually watch them than somebody who maybe puts out a video maybe once a month or something, you know. But no, I'm going to still try and keep to, you're always going to get the Friday Waffle, albeit not always on a Friday like this one, but I'm always going to try and get out the Friday Waffle and at least 2, maybe 3 other videos during the week sort of thing, every kind of second day. So anyway, yeah, that is it. I'm going to stop lecturing. I wasn't wanting it to sound like a lecture, but yeah, I do think it's vital trying to get a healthy life balance with your hobbies, your life, your commitments, your job, your relationships. They should always take priority, no matter what, because what we're doing here right now is just a bit of fun. It's a hobby, and it is important to me, but ultimately, real life has got to take precedence. It really has. Okay, right. This one is wanting to retain stuff I never use. Right, I'll give you a bit of background. Anybody that watches this channel will know I'm I've got a bit of an interest in Android tablet type things, Android sort of gaming consoles. Yeah, I mean, what did I own? I bought one of these Nvidia Shields, which I did a review of a while back. I've since sold it because it simply wasn't getting used. The screen in it was a gorgeous looking thing. It looked like an Xbox 360 controller, and it had this built-in screen. Super powerful, really nice console, but the problem was the screen was about tiny, really small, and so I never used it. Then I bought the GXD 7800,000B, whatever it's called. Big chunky thing. I've showed you, it's sitting over there. I'm not going to let you see it, but you've seen it before. Really nice. The only thing I don't like about it is the analog sticks. Excuse me a second. The analog sticks in it, although they feel nice, they're quite plasticky. I get really dry hands, and I find that my fingers slip off them because they're not rubbery at all, they're just plastic. And so yeah, really nice console. But there was one, I saw, I got an email from, I'm not going to tell you who it is, I don't promote companies, but I got an email from a company advertising their new latest and greatest Android tablet, the GPD XD, I think it's called, the GPD XD, Google it. And yeah, this is it's a Chinese Android console, but it looks almost identical to the 3DS XL. That is basically the form factor. I mean, I'm surprised Nintendo haven't taken them to court. It looks identical. It's a clamshell, looks really nice, and yeah, it's got the same form factor, looks really nice. So I was really tempted, well I would say more than tempted, when I saw it I thought, I want one, I need to buy one. I'm one of these guys, I'm very sort of spontaneous. If I see something like that I want, that becomes my sort of focus, I need to get one. So anyway, it's 130 quid I think it is. Now I wasn't going to go, I'm not that daft. I'm not one of these people that puts things on your credit cards. Don't get me wrong, I have bought things on credit cards in the past, and credit cards are all great if you know you need access to money quickly. Then yeah, it's great. But yeah, I'm one of these guys. I don't go buying stuff like that on credit cards. So I thought I need to get money for it. Now with Christmas coming up, obviously money is going to be used for other things. My daughter, her birthday is the beginning of December, so she's got a birthday Christmas kind of combo, so it's always very expensive this time of year. So yeah, to just go to my bank account and lift out 130 quid wasn't an option, so I thought, what can I sell? So I had a look through my collection, and my Sega 32X, which is an add-on. Excuse me a wee second guys, that's the phone. Sorry about that guys, it was tip wife as usual. What was I talking about? 32X. I bought that about a year ago, or probably more than that actually. The 32X, for anybody that doesn't know, it was an add-on, excuse me, swap my disc, it was an add-on that was released for the Sega Mega Drive. It was to basically kind of up its processing power. And I think the problem with the 32X was it came out, it was still cartridge based. It came out, I think, now I could be wrong, round about the same, it came out round about the same time, or was it just before the PlayStation came out, you know, something like that. And it was quite expensive as well, so it was really, you know, it came out far too late, so it absolutely died a death. It really did. I think there was only about maybe 30 odd games that actually came out for it, and most of them were pish, to say the least. I think it had quite a good version of, was it Virtua Racing? That was pretty good. It also had Star Wars Arcade, which, I mean, there was an arcade game, fun enough, called a Star Wars Arcade, where you're sort of shooting down TIE fighters and things like that. And I think the 32X was the only home version, the only home sort of console that had a version of it. That was pretty good. But the problem with it is you had to have it plugged into the top of the Mega Drive, and then you had a cable from the 32X to the Mega Drive, then you had a cable from the 32X to your TV, and it had a separate power pack. So you had two power packs, plus all these wires, and I've got my Mega Drive down there, and it's there's not a lot of room, and because most of the games were rubbish, it was never plugged in, and so it's basically sat under there for 2 years. So when I found that, I thought, I'm going to get rid of that, because the thing is, I can play 32X games on my main cab, I can play them on my Xbox, I think. I can play them on multiple systems. So I sold that, and the other thing that I sold, and I was kind of contemplating selling this before, and I've always, no, and I decided to do it for a reason. Last week, I decided to do a Mamemeister look at the Neo Geo Pocket Colour, which was a little DS sized kind of game or console released by SNK, who made the Neo Geo, and it basically played kind of watered down versions of the Neo Geo. There was stuff like, what do you call it, King of Fighters, Fatal Fury, Metal Gear Solid, not Metal Gear Solid, what was it called? Metal Slug, games like that. So I thought I'll make a video of it, and of course I completely forgot that this thing, it came out just before all these other consoles started fitting backlights. So this thing had no light onto it. There's no light, no front facing light, no backlight or anything on it, which basically meant you had to have a strong light source behind you to actually see the damn screen. And so I thought I'll make a video of it, and I spent about 20 minutes faffing about with a light, trying to get a light above me to shine down in it, and you know what, I gave up. I absolutely gave up. The sad thing is, it's actually quite a competent little machine. If it had a backlight, I would definitely have kept it, but it was with a heavy heart. I thought, why have I got this? Because again, it's one of these things I bought it off my mate about 2 years ago again, and it's sat on a shelf with about 11 games, and it's simply never got used. And because of the lack of light, I would never use it. I simply wouldn't use it, because why would I use it when I couldn't see the screen, when I can play the games on one of these things there, a modern sort of console, nice big screen, bright screen, you can see exactly what you're doing. So yeah, I had to kind of fight the urge to keep it, you know, and I put it up for sale, and needless to say, it was snapped up really quickly. I asked quite a decent price for it, and you know, quite a few people were interested, and they even said that, you know, it was a good price. And then you always think, well, I could ask for more, but you know what, although I'm sad to see it go, it was one of these things that I had that I simply never ever used. Now I've always maintained I'm not a collector for the sake of collecting things. I don't have things just to have it. You know, there are people who collect things so they can put it on their shelf and maybe never open it, whatever. I like everything that I own. I want to be able to actually play and use, and that's why I've got so many consoles in front of me here that I can actually use. I don't see the point in having something that I can't use. And unfortunately the Neo Geo Pocket was one of these things. It was one of these things I would love to have kept it, but because of the sort of form factor, i.e. the lack of a light, it made actually playing it virtually impossible for me. So yeah, it's gone, it's no more. So yeah, I sold that, I sold the 32X, I sold the Neo Geo Pocket, and I've got some Atari games up there that I'm trying to sell, and I'm also trying to sell my little Game Boy Micro. I love the Game Boy Micro, but I've managed to pick up, the one I've got is pink, and it's also got a little hair stuck just behind the screen, which always annoys the tits off me. So I'm trying to sell that, but I've managed to buy a silver one, which hopefully will get delivered today, because it hasn't, it's still not arrived yet. So yeah, when do you keep things, fighting the urge to keep things? Yeah, I'm bad for that. I am a bit of a hoarder. I mean, I've got like, there's a lot of stuff, I've got games and that, and yeah, maybe I don't, I'm kind of contradicting what I've just already said, but I maybe don't use that often. Then you think to yourself, well, I could sell them, but then I think to myself, well, I'm not going to get that much money for it, and I know if I sell it, I'll regret it, you know, so I don't sell it. So I am a bit of a hoarder when it comes to things like that, but like I said, I don't see any point in retaining stuff that you're certainly not going to use. I mean, I've got far too much stuff in here, and so to actually be able to clear a wee bit of space, you know, get rid of things that I'm not using, I don't actually mind. But yeah, it's always difficult getting rid of stuff. I also sold an Amiga, a Commodore Amiga A600, which it wasn't working. It used to work and then it just stopped working one day, and my mate George bought it and he opened it up and he managed to get it fixed. So he got it for, I think it was 28 quid. I was quite happy to get 28 quid for it because at the end of the day, you know, I didn't have the wherewithal to be able to fix it, so I don't see any point in having broken machines lying about the house. So anyway, yeah, I've now got enough money to buy this Android console thing. I was asking Mark, Big Marco, I can never pronounce your name, Lactobacillus Prime, Mark, yep. I was asking Mark because he is the console meister, you know, not console, handheld meister. Everything about handhelds that you didn't know, Mark is the man that'll tell you about them. I was asking him about it. I was asking him if he had seen this GPD-XD. He said he had, and he wasn't overly convinced that the controls were that good. So I don't know, I think I probably will buy one. It doesn't get released until I think it's the 7th of November, something like that in the UK. There are a few videos, a few YouTube videos of people playing them, but they're not particularly great videos, they don't really show it off. I want people to actually give their honest opinion about how it feels. The videos that are out there at the moment are just people playing games in it. I want an honest opinion about how it feels, and a big thing for me will be the ability to play vertical games, because it says that NVIDIA Shield that I had, the screen was tiny. It was fine for, you know, playing games, landscape, but when you try and play a game, a horizontal game on a screen like that, the screen then becomes, you know, really narrow, not big enough. So I'm curious to see how something like Donkey Kong or Galaxy and some horizontal, vertical game, sorry, would actually look in it. But I probably will get one, because at the end of the day you can always sell these things, but the problem would be it means I'd have two Android consoles that both do exactly the same as each other, and I would end up thinking I should sell one, but then if the GXD's got the bigger screen, I'd want to keep that, but the other one's got the clamshell and I'd end up getting that. So it means I'd end up with two, but you know what, I'll see what happens. So yeah, that's that. I'm going to be drinking my tea. Aye, the last thing I want to talk about is iOS games, or in particular tablet games, touchscreen games, you know, games you can play on your Android tablet, your phone, whatever. I got what was the first iPhone I got? iPhone 3 I think it was. I got an iPhone 3, I don't even know when it was, when did it come out? I don't know, 2005 or something. A smartphone, whatever. But yeah, the iPhone 3 was the first iPhone I owned, and it was exciting. And then I got myself an iPad, and of course the first thing I did was go overboard, downloading all the games, buying the games, you know, all these iOS games, your Plants v Zombies and all these kind of stuff. And brilliant, absolutely loved gaming on tablets, I really did. And then I kind of forgot about it, you know, I replaced my phone, and it got to the point I wasn't really playing games on my phone. I mean, I've now got an iPhone 6, and the only games that I actually have installed in it, or I did have installed in it, were all the Jeff Minter games, because his games really lend themselves well to the touch screen. But I thought to myself, wait a minute, let's just have a wee look. There must be some good games. I mean, the iPhone 6 is a powerful little machine. It could probably run games really well. So I went on to the App Store, and what was evident to me was just almost every game I looked at, you know, it wasn't particularly expensive, but every single game was in-app purchases. In-app purchases. You know, there's loads of free games, in-app purchases. And, you know, anybody that's watching this probably knows what an in-app purchase is. It basically means you've got the game, But if you want to get this particular gun or particular weapon or unlock a character, you've got to pay more money. Now I totally get that when it's the game's free, because at the end of the day the company, they don't make games, hang on a second, they don't make games for the good of their health. They're making games because that is their business, and obviously they need to recoup some money, they need to get some money back, which is absolutely fine. But so that's fine. Having in-app purchases on free games, I don't mind. So then in the App Store they've got like the best free games, and they've got the best bought games. Now I don't mind spending £2-3 on a game if I think it's going to be good. I mean, people tend to, this is the thing about iOS games now, people think when a game's £7, people are like, whoa, that's terrible, that's ridiculous, £7 for a game. You know, they forget that back in 1985 we were paying £5 for a game, whatever it was. So, you know, iOS games has really dragged down what people expect to pay for a game, which is sad, because, you know, although saying that, the PlayStation 4 games are so £40. But anyway, I kind of digress. So I don't mind buying a game if it's going to be a couple of quid, if I think it's quite good. But what was really sad was even the games that you buy, in-app purchase, in-app purchase, in-app purchase, in-app purchase. Now, to me, that right away tells me one thing. It means that if you want to get the best of the game, you know, unlock all the levels, get access to all the weapons, get access to all the characters, get access to all the other bits and pieces that go with this game, you're going to have to fork out more money. So if you just buy the basic game, that's what you're getting. You're getting a basic game. You know, some of these games that my daughter, well, she doesn't play so much now, but she used to play. Is it things like Farmville, whatever? You're trying to build like a farm or build buildings and that kind of stuff, but you've got to wait you got to use credits, and the only way to get credits is by either buying them, paying £2 for like 1,000 credits, or else you've got to wait on time passing by. So something ridiculous, like if you wanted to build a barn in Farmville, you've got to wait like 2 days to get enough credits. So yeah, if I'm buying a game, if I'm actually physically buying a game, paying £2 for a game, I don't expect to have to then wait for days and days and days to get enough money to do what I want in the game. I am certainly not going to start forking out more money for in-app purchases. I mean, it's not even just restricted to tablet games now. Apparently, there are some games for like the current consoles. You've got to pay to unlock. So even though you've got a disc that's got all the code on it, it'll have the code for all the levels and that kind of stuff. Even though you've got that on the disc, which you've already bought and owned, to unlock some of that, you've got to part with more money. And I don't agree with that. I really don't agree with that. And for that reason, iOS games, or not even iOS games, but just tablet touchscreen games now, I've kind of, it's had its time, it's had its day with me. I certainly don't make a point of, what am I trying to say here? At one time I used to really, oh dearie me, I'm totally forgetting what I'm trying to say here. I used to embrace these games big style, but now it's just reached the point where, you know, they expect you to buy the game and to pay for in-app purchases, and I'm like, nah, no thanks. So I'm just curious, what do you guys, anyone out there, do you actually play touchscreen games now? Is there any games on the iPhone that are must-haves? I'd be interested to know. I says, iOS games. I mean, I actually know some people. In fact, Stuart Campbell, fellow Scot, ex Amiga Power journalist and all round excellent games reviewer. He actually admitted, I read an article, he actually said that 99% of his gaming now is done on touchscreen tablets. And I found that quite surprising because Stuart was obviously a massive video game fan, he still is. But don't get me wrong, what he did say was, and I totally agree with it, you can't beat, if you're on a train or you've got maybe 10 minutes to spare, or even dare I say, you're trying to knock out a number 2 in the toilet rather than read a book, you think, oh, I'll have a quick shot of that. So touchscreen games are ideal for bite-sized chunks of gaming. But it's certainly, there's certainly nothing. The last game that I really played on touchscreen would probably be Plants v Zombies. That was an excellent game, it still is a good game. But I did look at there is a new one that came out, well it came out I think beginning of the year, and I was going to buy it, and then I saw the in-app purchases, even though the game was like, I don't know, it was a couple of quid to buy. Because there's in-app purchases, I'm like, nah, stuff this. I mean, one thing that you've read about in the papers before is kids buying a game and they want to buy extra coins, and the parent gives them their password to buy some coins at like, you know, $2.99 for 1,000, and the kid has gone and bought like 1,000,000 coins for like 80 quid. Quite why that should even be an option in a game is ridiculous. Who would pay £80 for virtual coins? You're not getting anything else extra for the game. It's just like a virtual currency. So yeah, it's got a downside to that. But I'm curious to know, then you guys actually play games on your touchscreen, on your smartphone, on your iPad. It was something I used to use a long time ago, but having looked at it recently, there's virtually nothing there at all for me that I would pay want to buy. I mean, I have bought a couple of games. I bought that Darius, whatever it's called, excellent shoot 'em up. So I don't mind buying a game that you get everything. You make one payment and you get the full game like you would, you know, back in the day. But if they're wanting you to fork out more money for in-app purchases, then I'm not going to buy it. Simple as that. I want to know what I'm going to have to pay to get access to the full game. You know, you can imagine that back in the early days, Manic Miner, you get to level 5, then you've got to pay more money to unlock the next few levels. It just seems ridiculous. Maybe it's because I'm old. I'm used to the old style, one price for the full game. None of this bollocks. You have to pay extra money for extra levels or health or whatever it is. So yeah, that's that. Just going to pause it a second, guys. Okay, right. I don't normally do pick-up videos, but I'm going to make an exception. Is anybody who had a computer back in the day, apart from the nostalgia for the actual machine, be it a Spectrum, Commodore, Atari, whatever it was, everybody would have had their favourite joystick. You know, I think the most popular joystick probably back in the day was like the old Kempson joystick. That was the one that was famously broken playing Daley Thompson's Decathlon. But yeah, I didn't have one of these. I can't even remember what my first joystick was. The very first joystick I bought from my Commodore 64, I don't even remember. I think it was some unknown budgety, what was it, a budget? It was an unknown branded one, and it was rubbish. But this one day, I happened to go up to Ray's Computer Shop, which I'm not going to go into again. It was an independent shop owned by Ray Agostini, an Italian chap. That was before the big stores like John Menzies sold computer games. I was up there one day and I spotted this joystick, and it looked like no other joystick I'd ever seen before. And it turns out they're primarily available from the States. It was made by a company called Wico, W-I-C-O. Their joysticks, I mean, back in the 80s, a joystick was $9.99. If I remember rightly, this joystick that I bought it was either 15 or 20 quid, which was a lot of money. It was virtually double the price of a standard joystick. But I bought one and I took it home, and I thought it was brilliant. I loved the feeling of it. It felt really comfortable to use. So I bought a second one. So I had two of these joysticks. And of course these joysticks eventually broke or were given away when I sold my C64. And I've googled them in the past, and they've always been stupidly expensive. They've always been, you know, only available in America, and they were always really expensive. But here, just last week, there was a guy on the Retro for Sale Facebook page selling this, and it is this bad boy. It's called the Wico Boss. The Boss. Now, yeah, it's it's really, I mean, you can see there, it's got a really big kind of base. There it's there. Patent pending, made in the USA, Wico. This thing, it's what differentiates this from any other. Is that plugged in? Can I let you see it? No, not really. I was going to let you see. Well, this one here, this is actually quite good. Is this a Cruiser? That's actually not a bad joystick. This one here though, it's got a lot of movement. It almost feels more analog. But the thing for me that I absolutely adored about this stick, it had a nice big base so you can hold it down firmly. This rotates like so. It's got a really nice grip, and the best bit is you've got the trigger up there. It just feels utterly fantastic. It really, really does. Now, I've not actually tried it yet, but that is going to be the stick that I'm going to use for my C64. But the guy assures me it is in good working order. So yeah, that is to me that is the daddy of joysticks, old style joysticks. Utterly fantastic. So yeah, quite a rare stick that actually. So that's a pickup. Nothing else to show you. Nah, nothing else at all. Yeah, just to finish off now guys, I've got one question from Kev down the rabbit hole. Thank you Kev as usual, I always appreciate you taking time to ask me questions. For the Friday Waffle, hi Alan, I've been watching all the news about the new Dizzy game coming from the Oliver twins. I'm sad to confess, the original Dizzy games are titles we never really heard much about here in Canada. Are you excited about the new adventure for that character? No, in a nutshell, I'm not. The reason being is, by the time the Dizzy games came out, the Dizzy games are always synonymous with the ZX Spectrum. Now I had a Commodore 64, I didn't have a Spectrum. And the Dizzy games came out round about the time where I was kinda almost moving on to the Atari ST. The thing is as well, I'm one of the original video gamers. I mean, I had my first computer in 1983. So by the time the Dizzy games came out, I was like 18, 19 years old. And I've got to admit, I did see the Dizzy game, but my first reaction was, it's for children. This little egg, it just didn't appeal to me at all. You know, I was more interested in beat 'em up games and shoot 'em ups. You know, this game, Dizzy game, really didn't do anything for me at all. I know there's a lot of people out there that think the Dizzy games are fantastic, and yeah, looking at them now, I can see what the appeal was or is. But I think they were primarily aimed at the younger kids. But again, so there's that reason. I always felt it was more for kids, the Dizzy games, and also the fact that they weren't as commonplace in the C64. I mean, I think they did get released in the Commodore 64, but like I said, because I looked upon them as not baby games, I looked upon them as little young kids games, so I never played them. So to answer your question, Kev, I'm not excited in the slightest about the new games game coming out. Thing is, when I was down in Play Manchester a few weeks ago, the Oliver twins, the two guys, I mean, they're now I don't know what age they must be late, probably the same age as me, yeah, late, almost 50, and they come across, I've watched a couple of their sort of talks that they do, and they come across as really, really down to earth, good guys. They're always up for a laugh, they don't take themselves very seriously, they seem like really, really decent blokes. And when I was walking about Manchester, Play Manchester, I saw them, and one of the guys, one of them, I don't know what one it was, Andrew and Oliver, I think it was. No, that's their second name, Andrew, and I don't know his second name, his other name. And anyway, he was standing on his own, and I walked past, and I thought, oh, I could go up and talk to him. But you know what stopped me talking to him was I thought, I don't have anything to say to him, because the game that they're synonymous with is Dizzy, and I wasn't a fan of Dizzy, so I wasn't going to go up and tell lies and say, oh, I love Dizzy games, because I didn't love them. Possible if I played them now I'd realise they're actually pretty good, but I didn't have anything, because I wasn't a fan of Dizzy, I couldn't bring myself to talk to the guy, because I simply wouldn't have known what to say to him. I couldn't, pretend that I liked the game when I didn't. So yeah, I totally get it. I mean, there's people out there who absolutely, and I know Chris Novabug, he's a massive Dizzy fan. In fact, I'd be interested to know when Chris started playing the Dizzy games, but yeah, he's a massive fan. They've got a huge following, and yeah, there is a new game that's just come out. Is it Dizzy Wonderland or something? I think it is. What I might actually do, here's what I'll do. Apparently it is out, you can play it either online or you can download it for the NES. What I might do is I'll download it and play it in the NES under emulation and see what I think of it. That's what I'll do. I'm going to make that a point. I'll take a note to do a 10-minute mashup of the latest Dizzy game and see if I can change my mind about them. But yeah, to answer your question, Kev, I'm not excited at all, because the Dizzy franchise was one that, to me, it was for younger kids. I was on the cusp of moving across to 16-bit. I was an adult, they were kids playing kids games. I know it's probably not a kids game, I'm sure there's lots of guys my age that even now enjoy playing them, but it was a franchise that I simply never never really got into at all. Never got any exposure into at all. My mate that owned the Spectrum, he didn't like them either, so I never really saw the games, other than I would see them for sale on the shelf, but that is it. So yeah, I will make a point of playing it and seeing if it's any good. Second part of your question, what are your feelings on other UK success stories of the same era, like Quack? Should that be Quake? Quack? Quake? No, wait a minute, Quake's an American game. Quake was written by ID Software. Quake wasn't a UK game, was it? No, Quake's an American game. Quack. Quack. I've never heard of a game called Quack. If it's Quake you're talking about, then Quake's an American game. Yeah, because you're saying here, what are your feelings on other UK success stories? Quack. Quake's an American game that I'm aware of. I'm sure IDE Software is all American. If it's not, then I do apologise and I stand corrected. Quack, if it's Quack, I can't say I've ever heard of that. Or Elite. Do you have fond memories of those particular games? That's an interesting one. Elite. Excuse me a second, I think I've showed you this already. Now, I actually bought this again. This is the Commodore 64 version. I did own this back in the day. I had the disc version, this is the tape one. Now I bought this, I'm kind of contradicting what I'm saying about owning games and never playing them. I bought this just to have, because inside the box, nice wee box, you've got the instructions, Space Traders Flight Training Manual. See, this is the kind of stuff that you miss getting in a game now. Flight navigation, brilliant, absolutely fantastic. So you've got all that, you've got your quick control guide, which shows you all your keys and all your commands and that kind of stuff. You've also got the novella, which was written just for the game by Robert Holdstock, called The Dark Wheel. Never actually read that. That was a book that was written purely to kind of build up the atmosphere of the game. And you've also got an extra wee inlay for some reason. You've got the tape. Elite disc upgrade offer. Saying £4 plus your cassette. Oh, brilliant. See, I love stuff like this. This game here even smells old. It was bought from Errington Computers, Spennymoor, County Durham, on the 6th of July 1985, and it was £14.95. I've got the Order of Elite membership card, and you've also got the, this looks like it's never been played, you know that, which is quite sad, the overlay for the keyboard. And also, what's this? This very poster, not this particular one, but the same poster. This adorned my bedroom wall for many, many years. So yeah, I absolutely adored Elite, and I still do. I've not played it for quite a long time. I probably should play it again. I played this so much. I think I got up to Dangerous. Then when I got the Atari ST, I bought that version. Excuse me a second. I bought that version, and then I upgraded to I got it on the Commodore Amiga as well. Absolutely loved the game to bits. Fantastic game. One of these games that just took over your life. Now that now would be a problem. I was actually asking my mate about it. The new Elite, I can't even remember what it's called again, Elite Dangerous or something is it called? I've tried it, my mate's got it, I've tried it using the Oculus Rift, and it is stunning. Apparently all the planets are actually like based on real planets, the vegetation, the light, the livestock, gravity, all that kind of stuff. It's all based on real planets. It looks incredible. Now I was asking a couple of mates who play it a lot, I says, is it worth getting even if you don't have the Oculus Rift? And it was a unanimous absolutely. But one guy said something which is probably going to stop me buying it, and he said it is a complete time suck. Be prepared to lose hours and hours of your life to the game. And for that very reason, I've decided I'm not going to get the new one. Possibly if it came out really cheap. I mean, I think it's still quite expensive. Possibly in a few years' time you get it for a £5, I might buy it just to have a look at it. But I don't have, just what we're talking about, striking a balance between real life and hobbies. I've got too much going on in my life with my running, my gaming, my YouTube channel, things like that, to be able to put time into a game like Elite. But yeah, I absolutely adored it. I adored it on the C64. It didn't run particularly well, but it was a game you really felt like you were in this other world. Being able to upgrade, getting a docking computer and that kind of stuff, getting a new gun. It was exciting when you had enough credits to buy a new bit for your ship. So I loved Elite, and I loved it just as much on the Amiga and the Atari ST, because it was like filled in polygons. Loved it to bits. Apparently the best original version of it is the Acorn Archimedes. That was apparently the best version to play. But yeah, I've not played it for a long time. I should give it a go. But the problem is with Elite, it's not a game you can just play for 5 minutes. It's a game you really need to keep going back to. And I just simply don't have the time. So as far as the new version, it does look the dog's bollocks, but I won't be buying it because I don't have the time to invest in it. And that would just be a waste of money. So yeah. Anyway guys, this has possibly been a slightly longer Friday Waffle than normal. Again, apologies about not getting it put out last night, but it was a huge case of couldn't be arsed-itis, and also the fact that we were watching a film and I was going to make it later on. I thought, you know what, I was feeling quite tired, so I had an early night. So that is it guys. Hope you enjoyed watching it. yeah, as usual, thank you very much to the subscribers. They're steadily going up, which is always fantastic. That's it. Please pop your questions, comments below as usual. If you want to see more videos by my good self, consider subscribing. And as usual, thank you very much for watching.
Thanks for watching my Mamemeister channel. Please feel free to like, comment or subscribe. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter.